Hi, how are you all doing today? Hi, how are you all doing today? I'd like to welcome you to our presentation. This presentation will be about a green farming business that we have come up with for this project. The presentation will be run by myself, Jan, Oran, Sajjad, and Vivien. Now, the introduction to this project that we have come up with, I will be talking about what was our inspiration, what actually made us choose this idea that we have. We noticed that it has huge market potential. That there could be great profits made from this business. It's trending towards renewables, which means that customers will more likely buy our products as they are renewable energy sources such as solar panels and windmills. It will be sold in bundles, and we as a company will be installing and maintaining these bundles, making sure that they work to the absolute top standard. We will be providing these bundles to Irish farmers, agriculture sector, and equipment suppliers. Now, our project aspiration, what made us decide choose this project? Based on our project plan and cost and profits that we have calculated from doing this project, it will be profitable based upon our calculated cost, which Oran will cover later down in this presentation. This project will tackle CO2 emissions, as CO2 emissions is a huge issue right now in today's world. So that way, we will try and help prevent global warming. We will also introduce a healthier way of running a farming business in today's generation.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sajjad, and I will be talking about the stakeholders. Now, in terms of the stakeholders, we have divided them into two sections. So one of them is the internal stakeholders. This represents people inside the company, such as the employees, managers, owners, the CEO, for example, and then the external stakeholders. The external represents suppliers, the society, the government, creditors, and external factors that can affect our business. Next slide, please. This is a communications diagram for our business, and we have power and interest on the axis there. And as you can see, we have shown where certain roles go inside. So for the CEO there, he has loads of power and loads of interest because he's in charge of the business and the products we sell, and in terms of that. As for the investors have loads of power because they are providing the cash, but they wouldn't have too much interest there. On the other side, we have the locals who wouldn't have too much power, but they would have some interest in our business. So that's just a feel for some of our people who are interested in our business and what their effects are. Next up, we have how we communicate with these stakeholders. So, for example, communicating with the locals, we would communicate with them through social media platforms, giving them updates on what's happening. They can view it, they can share it, they can like it. As for employees, we could send out emails, communicate via emails on updates. And this is not inside the business, so we would deal with them like that. As for engineers, we could do phone calls to keep them up to date. They could communicate through phone calls and on what they're doing and how they're doing. For example, Skype as well would be an option there. How to deal with the CEO? Well, for that, we decided on saying that we would provide more meetings to the CEO to give him more regular updates on what's happening.
Organizational structure. The organizational structure is basically all the roles that were included in the project, and here are the roles that we actually used. The reason being for choosing these roles are we believe this was the most important and relevant for running a company such as ours. And the typical roles would be the role of a CEO, who is in charge of managing an independent institution or organization such as this. And under the CEO would be the finance team, who manages the money in a company, the engineering team, who basically is in charge of manufacturing and developing our products, the operations team, who is in charge of delivering and installing the products, and finally, the human resources team, who is responsible for managing all the matters that's related to the employees of the company. Next, here we have the complete schedule of our project. So this diagram basically shows the complete timeline of our project. As you can see, our timeline is broken down into the different teams under the company, so finance, marketing, human resources, engineering, and operations. And it runs for approximately 5 years and begins in the first quarter of 2021 and approximately ends in the first quarter of 2026. Finance and marketing. So for finance, this team basically covers the financial planning and management activities of the company. So this would include the company budgeting, reporting the different company expenditures, and compliance, which is basically all the laws and regulations in relation to the finance sector. And then next we have the marketing team, and this team basically defines and manages the company brand, and this includes producing the marketing and promotional materials, so posting on social medias, creating advertisements, and campaign activities, which is hosting different production shows of the products, and then customer and market research. So here I have my mind map, and I split my mind map into finance and marketing, and this basically includes all the possible action plans that I would have under my team. So money, for example, I have money management, financial planning for finance, and then defining and managing the company brand, and monitoring and managing the social media for marketing. And here I have my work breakdown structure. So for finance, I have financial planning, financial strategies, and company budgeting under it. And for marketing, I have defining and managing the brand, monitoring and managing the social media of the company, and finally, customer and market research. And as you can see here, I have an action plan for financial planning. So this basically just talks about all the company expenditures and all the planning that goes with it. And here I have applying for the licensing and permit fees, which has all the resources, the preceding task, and the role, the person who manages this task under it. And next is basically a Gantt chart, which includes the scheduling of the action plan. So it spans for approximately 50 days and runs for approximately a week each for each task. And then here is the approximate cost for both the teams that I was working with. So for finance, it approximately costs 3.5 million euros for all the 3 work packages, and then for marketing, it costs for approximately 1.2 million euros for all the work packages that come with it as well. So now I'll hand you over to Oran.
Hi, so my name's Oran McCarthy. I'm the Human Resources Project Manager, and I'm basically just going to talk to you my processes for developing the human resource aspect of the company. So, role responsibilities. What is human resources? According to the internet, the division, human resources is the division of a business that is charged with finding, screening, recruiting, and training job applicants and administering employee benefit programs. Basically, this sums up to human resources is involved with the hiring of talent, the retention of these people through incentive schemes and policies such as anti-bullying policies or anything like that, and training as well, and the firing of these employees if they do something wrong or for a variety of reasons you can fire someone. So this is the initial mind map that I created about human resources. These extended flags, or whatever you'd call them, these are basically the pillars of what human resources is all about. So, for example, diversity. in the workplace, we want a diverse selection of people with diverse ideas. For example, this diversity could be in gender, culture, sexuality, and knowledge. And the most important thing is that there's no discrimination between these branches. And maybe another of being training. There's interns, you can upskill people, and also safety is very important. Here's my work breakdown structure. Now, this is not my actual work breakdown structure that's in the report, but these are the titles, and what the work breakdown structure would actually look like is a load of steps underneath that describing the particular task. So, for example, we have recruitment, developing policies, training, develop an incentive scheme, and firing staff. None of these are very specific to a green farming business, which is what our thing is. But every company needs human resources, and every company needs these things. So they're all very important. So nothing here is very specific, but it's very, very important in a company. This is an example of what I believe is the most important action plan, which is actually recruiting people, because you need people in your company. So we have deliverables here. Deliverables are basically things that we expect at the end of this action plan. Measure of accomplishment, basically the same as deliverables, but a little bit more detailed. And constraints and assumptions. These are things that we like. It's exactly what it says. These are things that we need as a predecessor, and assumptions that are made, in order for things to run smoothly, so that we don't have a million tasks. And there are 11 steps here that include the actual task, the resources needed, the predecessing task, the duration, and who's it's assigned to. So there you go. Here's my Gantt chart. This is the Gantt. This is the recruitment part of the Gantt chart. So it's the same as the action plan, all the same steps. Basically, we're just putting it into MS Project. You can see that it's the human resource manager doing it the entire time, and you can see a timeline at the right hand side of the screen. And it also gives you a start date and an end date. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. And finally, costs. So how much does the entirety of human resources cost? Well, we summed up it to be 660,000. This really only includes the actual work involved, because the resources required for human resources are very low cost things, such as a computer or a laptop or something like that. These are things that are just givens. We assume that we already have this sort of thing, so that's what gives us the final cost.
So up next, we have the research and development and the technical side of the business. Now, this is the side of the business that I was the project manager of, and I'll just explain a bit more on what I did in that side of things. In terms of the role responsibility, so I was responsible for the research and development. Now, this involved identifying product requirements, so what sort of specifications the product would be, investigating technology solutions and which ones would be best to use in our facility. We had to build prototypes, and we had to test and evaluate those prototypes. On the technical side of things, we had to find a location and set up a site. We had to gather machinery and equipment from suppliers and set them up. We had to test their performance and reliability and see if their requirements would be up to our specifications. And we had to get permit approval to set up a facility. Next up, we took these role responsibilities and put them into a mind map to just do a quick brainstorm and flesh them out a bit more if we needed to. So on the left-hand side, as you can see, we have the technical side, and these are the same bullet points that we have covered in the previous slide. A bit more fleshed out, perhaps, but still the same ones. And on the research and development side, we have a bit more here. So investigate technology solutions. We said we picked the one with the greatest business value. So that could be the value in terms of cost or performance, things like that. We create prototypes and improve the prototypes if required. So that would be an iterative development model there. So next we move on to the work breakdown structure. So we take those points that we created in the mind map, and we identify them that can be turned into work packages. So the work packages that we created was the research work package, the development work package, and the technical work package. And we simply expanded that out to create tasks in order to achieve the overall aims of that specific work package. Most of them were done by searching up the internet on 10 steps to do. For example, 10 steps to do for research. As you can see, we found identify and narrow the scope of the problem. We have identified customer needs. We have developed the initial plans, collecting data and analyzing data. So that was how we went about creating the work breakdown structure. Up next, we have the summary of what the action plans contained of. So the first one was the research. So this was all about getting adequate research for the business product. So, if we do research for, 2 days, that's clearly not enough. If we do research for a year, that's not enough. So we had to find what was the middle ground for conducting research. We also had to do research for potential products, such as the electric tractor idea we have and automated feeders. So we would just do research, individual research for those two products that we may bring to market. Work package 2 consists of development. Now this is all about containing all the necessary tasks in order to conduct development on the potential product by the company, such as as we mentioned before, the electric tractors, especially, or the automated food feeders. Measures of accomplishment for this would be testing for marketability and product specifications should be established. Work package 3 was the technical side. There are no bullet points here. This was simply setting up the facility, acquiring the machinery and tools and setting them up. Last up, we have an example of the work package. We do have 3 work packages, but I'm just going to show you the second one, which is the development one. The deliverables for this work package was for a prototype to have been created. Measures of accomplishments would be for testing for marketability and its specifications to be defined and decided on. And as you can see, we simply listed out the tasks. We added in resources that we think would be required to complete the task. We created a duration for how long we think these should be carried out over, and we assigned someone to be responsible for that task. Lastly, we went over to project manager, MS project. We went into the resource sheet and we put in all the work that would be required. So, for example, we would need a lead researcher for the research side of things. We would need a chief engineer for the development. We would need a building engineer for the technical side of things. And we simply went over here and got some salary estimates and simply inserted them into MS project. Next up, we have the materials. So we went about doing the same thing for all the materials that would be required. And as you can see from here, the most expensive material that we would have would be the manufacturing machines. So we would acquire the machines and set them up in the facility. As you can see here, it's about 100K there. One of our most expensive acquisitions, perhaps. Lastly, we have the Gantt chart. So this is an overall Gantt chart that we filled into MS Project. And as you can see here in the Gantt chart, it gives you a total cost, about 1.2 million here for the engineering department. And it's broken down over here for each of the work packages and their individual tasks.
Hey guys, this is Jan here. I was in charge of installation, maintenance, and delivery of this project. So this project manager deals with the following things. It deals with installation of packages that sold to customers, making sure that they're installed correctly and properly. I was also in charge of safe delivery and transport of the packages. So making sure that solar panels, the windmills, tractors, everything is strapped correctly on trucks and vans, and ensuring that they're transported without any damages. I was also ensuring that all packages are running smoothly over the course of the package contract, meaning that I was maintaining the packages, making sure that all the solar panels and again windmills, tractors, everything else are working smoothly over the course that the contract was signed. And of course, I was ensuring that the customers are satisfied with the products that we're providing them. Here we have an example of a summary mind map. I'm just gonna let you guys know this is not a full mind map. It's just to give you guys an example of how a mind map works and what we're used for. I'm gonna go through one example here, installation. So if you break that down into smaller parts, it's removing all the equipment, signing contracts with the customers, filing permits, and then it comes down to installing the new equipment. Again, it's very short. It's not done out fully, but it's just to give you guys a taste of how mind map actually works. Next slide, please. Here is a summary of our work breakdown structure. This is relating back to the mind map, as here we're actually breaking down the tasks into even smaller tasks, making sure that nothing is missed or nothing is forgot about. I'm just going to go quickly through delivery. Here we can see that in delivery, what we have to do is arrange the package, making sure that's ready to be delivered, strap and secure the package on vans and trucks, ensure that they're not damaged when being transported, bring the package to the farm site, and unload the package. This is quickly a very quick breakdown of what's involved in each role. Here we have an example of an action plan. This is breaking every task down even more by adding preceding task, which is what needs to be done before the specific task that's being done at the moment. We add a duration, so how long will the task take to do, and we also have assigned to or responsible. So the person that's responsible for doing these roles. Next slide, please. Now here we have operations cost. So how much did it all cost for the operations? As you can see, the total comes out to €12,135. This is for one package. So of course this is going to change depending on how many packages the customers buy. For each task, we have installation, delivery, and maintenance. So you can see that exact amount that each of these tasks cost in this graph. Now, summary of action plans. So basically things that I didn't cover before. I covered the maintenance action plan, but we also have delivery and installation. So delivery is, of course, ensuring that equipment is transported without any damage and that schedules are met. Installation, we can see that we want professional installation, making sure that's installed correctly. All the equipment is disposed of and removed of correctly or recycled if needed, and to ensure that the customers are satisfied with the product and services that we are providing. Last thing I'm going to go through is the risks. So I'm just going to go through two examples here. One example would be, for example, skills shortage. So inaccurate interviews, that this is the cause. And as a result of this, for example, things could be installed incorrectly or could cause issues further down the line for our customers. The probability of this is moderate because it is fairly possible. And the impact could be also moderate because we could have problems with customers further down the line. Another example I could go through is, for example, equipment shortage. This would be caused due to supplier delays and things not being planned correctly. And the probability of this is low, and the impact will also be moderate as customers will have complaints and wouldn't be satisfied if things aren't done on time. So I'll pass you on to Oran now, and I'll go through the costs. Thank you very much.
Hi, so this is just the overall costs of our entire project. We had 5 million to 50 million of a budget to use as per the project brief. And as you can see, our total costs come out to just under 6.5 million. This is on the lower end of the scale of what our budget can be, which we believe leaves less risk or less loss if this is a failure. So we think that this is a really good idea. Our income starts in year 3. This is when we actually start selling our products. We sell about 40 bundles a year, which will lead up to our 3.3 million income each year, which then our total comes to 10 million. The difference between the two is 3.5 million of a total net profit. However, we did calculate our NPV and we got a positive NPV of 1.5 million. So this is positive, this is green, this is good. So that's grand. So yeah, 83,000 is our bundle cost, as you can see in the left over there. and we predict to sell to 120 people or 40 people a year. This is, solar panel, wind turbine, the installation and the tractor, all this sort of thing in this one bundle, which we calculated, and a hurdle rate of 12%. And the graph there should tell you that our net income is positive, that we start making money in year 3. So we believe that this is a profitable business and should be invested in. Thank you very much.